Good evening everyone. A very warm welcome to all present over here, respected guests, society members and my dear friends. A special thanks to everyone. It's an honor to be graced by your presence here at the Cine Montage Film Society Nagpur. I request everyone to please switch off or keep their phones on silent mode for the session being. You are aware that the late Mr. Gora was the founding member and a true inspiration behind the establishment of Cine Montage Film Society in Nagpur back in 1978, which was 44 years ago. He had a great vision and knowledge about the art of cinema. His inborn qualities like modesty, humility, care, inspiration were all around him. Leading from the front and working tirelessly without exerting or influencing, he motivated people to perform beyond and love the call of duty and realized his dream of cine montage with the assistance of others with resources. To remember him and his dedicated work, Cine Montage organizes the Gora Memorial Celebration every year on his birth anniversary in the month of December. Today, under this program, we are happy to have Srimati Madhuri Bedekar ma'am and Srimati Barka Mathur ma'am to deliver a talk on cinema of my choice and interact with the audiences. Like every other auspicious occasion, let's start this event by offering our prayers to late Gora Ganguly and conduct our customary garlanding ceremony as a tribute to him. For this, I will request our honored chief guest, Srimati Madhuri Bedekar ma'am, Srimati Barka Mathur, and Mr. Jai Shankar, Secretary of Cine Montage Film Society, along with Dr. Dolly Deshpande ma'am to come forward to offer the floral tributes to this.
शूज निकाल दो पहले।
मेरे को बड़ा मुश्किल जाता है।
रन करो मुझे।
हाई।
So much everyone. Now you may take your seats. Now I invite guests of today's function with a request to come out to position and occupy their distinguished chairs. बस एक शाम का हर शाम इंतजार रहा, बस एक शाम का हर शाम इंतजार रहा, अब जाकर इस शाम को वो शाम आई है. Proceeding further, to give a warm welcome to Mrs. Madhuri Bedekar ma'am, I request Mr. Tapas Shah sir to offer her a bouquet and a book on behalf of Cine Montage Film Society. I thank him for providing the gracious presence to join us today to enhance our joy. I request Mr. Arup Banerjee sir, founder member of Cine Montage Film Society, to offer a bouquet and a book to Mrs. Barka Mathur ma'am and give her a warm welcome. Thank you so much everyone. I will now read a speech sent to us by the President of the Cine Montage Film Society Nagpur, Mr. Ram Tare sir, who is not present with us but has today sent us in the form of this message. Dear members and friends, today you have assembled here to remember and offer tributes to our great inspiration, late Gora Ganguly. Our film society indeed came into back in 1978 because of the efforts of many film enthusiasts, but the true brain behind the whole enterprise was our beloved Gora. He had a great vision and knowledge not only about the art of cinema but also about all arts and crafts for that matter. His inborn qualities like modesty, care and understanding for others, dedication and persistence made him a great leader as well as an inspiration for all around him. Leading from the front and working tirelessly without exerting or influencing, he motivated people to perform beyond and above the call of duty and realized his dream of Cine Montage with the assistance of like-minded people enthusiasts with resounding success. It's indeed hard to find a person like him who would engage, satisfy and stimulate his followers and take them towards a mutually shared vision. What we were back then in the 1970s and what we are now in 2022 is all because of the undaunted efforts of a great leader like him. We shall remain grateful to him forever. These days, particularly during and after COVID, film societies all over have suffered a lot on account of the mere participation of cinephiles. All kind of movies are now available on your fingertips on mobile, TV, OTT and the internet. Therefore, the passion, devotion and the dedication of the late Gora become all the more important today than before for motivating the film lovers and contributing their might for the survival of a society, where select movies and screen for the true appreciation of award-winning art house and meaningful cinema. On his birth anniversary, I offer floral tributes to him on behalf of all the members of Cine Montage, friends and well-wishers. I sincerely apologize for not remaining present personally due to some unavoidable reasons. Thank you, Ram Tayade, President. I thank Ram Tayade sir for the presidential speech. Moving on, I like to introduce what is this Film Society movement. So basically, members of the Film Society movement consisted of some important film directors such as Satyajit Ray, Harisaran Das Gupta, Chidanand Das Gupta, Shyam Benegal, Basu Chatterjee, Kumar Shahani, Adur Gopal Krishnan and Mrinal Sen and as well as many other film enthusiasts numbering around 1 lakh in 1980. The first and most lasting motive of Film Society has been to foster the appreciation of the art of film. Plus, it has been to emphasize the every dimension of film in culture. Hollywood films or say even Bollywood movies escapes us from the reality of life. These movies do not confront the reality. Hence, it's a high time we should appreciate serious films and documentaries that help us to face the reality and show the real scenario of human life. This is what Cine Montage Film Society nurtures. Being a part of Film Society movement, Cine Montage Film Society appreciates the art of serious films and helps to sustain the same. While having a discussion about the same with Mr. Jaishankar sir, I got an opportunity to read this book I like to introduce. Indian Film Society movement, which has the journey and its impact of film enthusiasts. I recommend everyone here who is a film enthusiast to go through this book for sure. Now directly coming to the point of what is this cinema of my choice. In India, cinema is very near to the lives of people, or we can say that it is in the heart of people. The large screen provides us an alternative escape from the reality of day-to-day life. People cry, people laugh, even dance and enjoy their memories while watching cinema. Cinema in today's world has been the most popular means of entertainment. Millions of people watch cinema every day all around the world, not only as a means of entertainment but also as an escape from the monotony, boredom, anxiety and troubles of life. Cinema tells us a story. Cinema is the invention that has changed the way a story is viewed by the people. Many families spend time together watching movies in cinema. Cinema is considered to be the most expensive form of art as millions of dollars are spent to create sets, advertisements and many more things. Also, it helps in bringing together people from different communities. If I talk about cinema of my choice, so movies like Jab We Met, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Wake Up Sid, Kal Ho Na Ho, Queen, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, Dear Zindagi teaches a lot to us about the life and love. Bollywood movies have always been the greatest and most effective mood changers for someone who has some other plans in their mind and they want to see something else in their reality. When they narrate the stories of their real own characters, they feel like they are a part of the movie and want to pursue the same. So if we talk about our personal opinions, my constant mood is always similar to Rani's from Queen, where she goes, "Mera to itna life kharab ho gaya," and even after watching one single movie, my mood shifts from the Geet from Jab We Met, where she goes from "Main to apni favorite hu." So this art of shifting our mind from a raw to the happy one, the cinema only possesses this quality, that how one should appear to a movie, that how one should go to watch the movie, how they feel their experiences while watching any cinema, and what are the interpretations that they derive while watching the 2 or 3 hours of cinema. With this, I think like this movie, which helps us to encourage and to watch more and more and to confront more and more about our life, is what we as a youth of this generation should know and read more about this art of Indian cinema. But we are here to listen to the two most film enthusiasts of today's world. On behalf of Cine Montage Film Society, I welcome our chief guest, Srimati Madhuri Bedekar ma'am, who served as an associate professor and is also an award-winning theatre, film and TV actress for more than 40 years. She has been honored with the Best Actress Award at state and national festivals several times. Her performance in the lead role in a play staged at the International Theatre Film Festival was much appreciated. She has also acted in a few Marathi, Hindi and German films and many TV serials as well. She is an A-grade artist of All India Radio. Without any further delay, let's give a warm welcome to Srimati Madhuri Bedekar ma'am.
Thank you, Rebecca. Ladies and gentlemen, and the young population especially, I begin by expressing my deep gratitude to Gora for exposing me to a vast canvas of beautiful cinema at a very young age of 22. Acting was my passion then, and in a couple of years I had started to teach in a college of social work. Just as good literature and theatre, this whole gamut of choicest world cinema added to my grooming in both the fields of my choice and me as an individual. I am thankful to Jai Shankar ji, Secretary of Cine Montage, for giving me this opportunity to speak today. About a fortnight ago, he had called me and said, "Madhuri ji, इस बार फाउंडर्स डे पर मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप और अपने ही अन्य 3 लोग अपनी किसी भी एक पसंदीदा फिल्म पर बोलें." I was surprised, but I liked the idea, as on earlier occasions we mostly had film scholars or individuals from the field speak on more generalized topics such as good cinema, meaningful cinema, or art house cinema as some prefer to call it. Of course, barring a stray occasion like a remake of Sholay. Jai Shankar ji said the title of the talk would be my most intimate film, but I did not find the word intimate suitable here, and so he asked me to reframe my topic. I said I would prefer to call it as one of the significant films that I recently saw in Cine Montage, to which he happily agreed. However, a few days back, when I saw the invite, the topic mentioned there was cinema of my choice. The scope of this topic is altogether different. So I wish to clarify here that I shall speak only on the topic that had been specified to me by the Cine Montage Secretary. And I shall confine to one film. So, Where is the Friend's House is one of the significant films that I really liked in the recent times, which I saw in this premises. The length of the film is only 1 hour 19 minutes. It is prima facie a simple tale of an 8-year-old boy trying to return his friend's homework notebook mistakenly carried home by him. What is remarkable in the film is the social complexity and challenges therein of the world where children are growing up at the mercy and whims of adults. Few words about the director. It is an Iranian film directed by Abbas Kiarostami in 1987. This is first of the Cochlear trilogy by Kiarostami. Koter is a northern Iranian village. The film draws its title from a mystical poem by a poet and painter, Sohrab Safari. Kiarostami began his work with commercial art and advertising for television as well, which rendered brevity and precision of expression to his work. Many of his contemporaries, as we all know, went into exile during the 70s and 80s that saw a political shift of Shah Muhammad Raza Pahlavi's rule to Ayatollah Khomeini's. But Kiarostami continued to work, keeping a low profile. He helped set up and establish the government film production unit called the Center for the Intellectual Development of Children and Youth, Qanun, which went on to become a breeding ground and film school for experimental filmmakers. Fine, now the film begins. The film opens with credits superimposed on a rusty classroom door, and one hears noisy school children. A teacher enters the classroom, and soon an air of authority permeates, with a stern voice and body language. His opening words are noteworthy. He says, quote unquote, "As soon as I am late someday, the class is a mess. You show me you don't know how to behave yourself. You can't be trusted. I told you, if I am late someday, it is because something happened to me. It seems I am talking to the walls." He now begins to check students' homework notebooks, towering over them from behind their benches in a threatening way. He is a tall man. Muhammad Raza Nematzadeh, an 8-year-old, bears the wrath of the teacher as he has brought his homework written on loose sheets of paper instead of a notebook. The teacher takes him to task. His bone of contention is that he had asked Nematzadeh on 3 earlier occasions to write it in a notebook. So threatening him of expulsion from the school if he did that the next time, he tears out the pages without even seeing what the boy had written. The boy starts to cry miserably. His notebook was forgotten at his cousin's place, which the cousin confirms after entering the class a little late. The protagonist in the film, Ahmed, who shares the bench with Nematzadeh, is a witness to his friend's helplessness and misery from very close quarters, and he looks affected by the whole episode. The teacher then asks the boys coming from Poshte, a far-off place, to sleep earlier, get their full sleep, and leave home 10 minutes earlier so that they are not late to class anymore. He also explains the importance of writing in a notebook. Thus, he is not a complete villain, but as audience, we sense that discipline and homework occupy a central place in school rather than the process of learning or gaining knowledge. Soon the school closes for the day, and as normal 8-year-old, all the children, same age group, they rush out, running, laughing, teasing the horses and hens at the stable or the barn wherever the school is. While running, Raza Nematzadeh falls down, and an empathetic Ahmed rushes back to gather his scattered belongings, helps him get up, and even tries to wash off the dirt from his trousers. Remembering this little move comes in handy for the audience at a later phase, so I will spell it out. Scene 3. Ahmed has reached home. His mother is washing clothes, and even before the boy sits down, she starts giving him a series of orders to fetch her baby's clothes, hot water, sugar, etc., rebuking him all the while. The grandmother is also only accusing the boy and instructing him time and again, though he has been doing all that is asked of him very obediently with the comprehension of an 8-year-old. The moment he settles down to do his homework, he notices his friend's look-alike notebook that he has mistakenly brought in his bag along with his own. His face is guilt-stricken as he remembers that the teacher had threatened him of expulsion from the school the next time failing to do his homework in a notebook. In that, the mother rebukes him. Can't you hear the baby cry? Give him the bottle. He promptly obeys, but is visibly disturbed. He says, Mother, I took Muhammad Raza's book by accident and I have to go and return it to him. He repeats this 10 to 11 times. Yes, I did count. 10 to 11 times in different ways, but the mother pays no heed. His brother Ali has finished his homework and mother sends him off to play almost compulsorily. But she keeps chiding Ahmed for not doing his homework while continuously ordering him to take care of the baby. Finally, Ahmed shows his mother both the notebooks, his and his friends, that looked identical to gain her trust. He explains to her the problem, yet she indifferently asks him to return the notebook the next day in school as Pochte was very far away. She adds, don't lie to me that many children come to school from there. All that she keeps repeating is, do your homework, do your homework. And then, just when he's attempting to begin writing, she asks him to go and get bread from the market and adds, when your father comes, he will know what to do with you. Now, Ahmed steals this opportunity to run to Pochte and return the book. It is a very long zigzag pathway on barren hills with sparse trees and bushes. He reaches the place, but the approach roads to houses are very difficult to navigate. Then he gets to know that there are 4 districts in Pochte, and he is clueless of his friend's further address. He now happens to see Murtaza, his classmate, who is carrying a huge can of milk on his back. Ahmed inquires about Nemanzade's house. Murtaza knows only the cousins, that is Hemati's house, but he can't accompany Ahmed as he has to deliver milk to various houses. However, he explains a roundabout address to Nemanzade's cousin's house in Khanewar district. It is something like a steep street and a staircase leading to a blue door. By the way, this boy Murtaza is seen reporting that his back hurt when scolded by the teacher in school on 2 occasions, but no cognizance was ever taken of. Now we realize why the child's back always hurt. Ahmed proceeds alone, navigating the arduous lanes. At one place he notices the brown trousers drying on a clothesline and remembers them as Nemanzade's. They were equally worn out on the knees area. Convinced that this was the house, he calls out his friend's name several times. But there is no response. He again checks out the wetness of the trousers and the knees area. He moves ahead and knocks on a blue door and inquires about the brown trousers to an old woman who had opened the door very reluctantly. She is oblivious of her neighbors, as are almost all the adults, as we go on to see in the film later. Finally, it turns out that the trousers belong to someone else, but Ahmed manages to locate Hemati's, that is Raza Nemanzade's cousin's house, but is told that he had just left for Koker with his father. Koker is Ahmed's own village. The child runs back all the way to Koker. There, his grandfather is still idling away at the same spot that he had crossed while running towards Pochte. The grandfather drills him as to why he was running towards Pochte. Ahmed hesitantly tells him the reason, and without helping him out, the grandfather asks him to fetch cigarettes for him. Ahmed says that he has to buy bread before the shop runs out of stock and reach home. But the old man is adamant. Although he and the other man he is talking to both happen to have cigarettes on them. The grandfather insists that the point was not about the cigarette. He was, in his words, trying to educate the boy for tomorrow to be a good man. His own father regularly begged him every fortnight to make him a strong man. So now he wanted to educate his undisciplined grandchild, because if he is lazy, he will not be useful to the society. Next, we see a robust, dominating contractor pressing the men in the same marketplace to get their doors replaced and fixed by him. The boy comes back to his grandfather, unable to get the cigarettes. This contractor forcibly takes the notebook from Ahmed's hand as he wants a piece of paper. Ahmed keeps pleading that it wasn't his book but his friend's. However, the man tears off a page. The boy looks at his grandfather, but he doesn't come to rescue. We see helplessness writ large in the boy's eyes. He is detained further, but the arrogant man retains the book as a hold for the paper to write the estimate upon. Now the grandfather looks away from the child's eyes to let him handle the whole situation by himself. At the end of the agreement, the contractor is writing, the name Aga Khan Mehmedzadeh is heard. Startled Ahmed asks one of the two dealing men if his name was Mehmedzadeh. He is completely ignored. He repeats the question 4 times, but doesn't get any answer. He then asks the same question to the contractor 7 times. I had been counting. And also keeps asking if Muhammad Raza was his son. Why was I counting? Because the teacher was angry because he had asked Mehmedzadeh on 3 earlier occasions some question. He then asks the same question to the contractor 7 times and also keeps asking if Muhammad Raza was his son. But without even glancing at the boy, he returns the notebook thanklessly and rides away on his horse. Ahmed starts running after him on the same road leading to Pochte, and the grandfather is just watching. It is late afternoon now. Ahmed has to match the horse's speed. Braving several odds, he reaches the place where the man loads window panes on the horseback to ride away. Ahmed sees the man's son wearing similar brown trousers. He is relieved. But when he sees the boy's face, he finds that he is neither Hemati nor Muhammad Raza. He is some other Mehmedzadeh. The boy tells Ahmed that this surname was common in many households there. But he sympathetically hears out the reason for Ahmed's desperation and suggests to him to search for a blacksmith's house. His friend would be living beneath his workshop. Another difficult search for Ahmed. It is evening by now. The blacksmith is finally located, who says he knows his friend and his father and their house as well. And we see him ready to accompany the boy to the location. Now we are relieved. The man has arthritic knees and is utterly slow in his walk. Throughout the way, he keeps boasting about the doors and windows made by him, blames the changing demands of the present times and the woes of his old age. The boy's patience is being tested. The night has fallen now. Finally they reach, but it turns out that they are at a wrong place. The old man still wants to continue with his agenda, but now Ahmed says that he has to leave for Tokyo as he has to buy bread for his family, and also that his father would be angry for being so late. Yet we see Ahmed politely following the old man's pace, walking all the way back. Ahmed is utterly disappointed and worried now. Finally, the man asks him to run to Kokir. The dogs bark at the scared boy in the utter darkness. The old man promises Ahmed that he would watch over him till he crosses the fearful patch and asks him to run. But we see this man step inside his home and close the door behind him, and the dogs are barking in utter dark. Next we see a dejected Ahmed sitting against a wall in his home with a plate full of untouched food before him. His mother asks him a few times to eat, and the father is seen just toying with a transistor, oblivious of the boy's turmoil. We see the child's eyes full with tears now. All that the mother notices is that he's tired and asks him to go to bed. Ahmed says that he has to finish his homework first. The weight of guilt is overbearing on him. Empty stomach, he settles down to do the homework. An unconcerned grandfather is idly sitting in a room, but not a word with the boy. Before returning to her bedroom, the mother gives one casual caress on Ahmed's head. She brings the plate of food to him again and says, "When you finish, turn the lights off before going to bed." In a while, there are sudden howling winds and lashing rains outside. The dogs start barking aloud. These sounds help us reach the boy's state of mind in a deeper way. Soon the mother is seen collecting clothes from the clothesline. Next shot. The classroom. Teacher enters, demands to see the homework notebooks. Ahmed is not there yet. Muhammad Raza Nemadzadeh is seen head down, pretending to search for his notebook. He takes out 2 pages from his bag and rests his head on the desk out of fear. The teacher is approaching him from behind. Ahmed enters at the nick of time. In a hushed voice, he tells Raza that he has done the homework in his notebook as well. The teacher checks the notebooks on their desk now, says good to Ahmed and very good to Raza for a task well done, and the film ends. I am tempted to underline some of my further observations and comments made after watching the film as thus. Number 1. Children are at the mercy of indifferent, callous adults immersed in their own individual worlds. The adults communicate with children only in the form of giving instructions, orders, threats, reprimands, and blames, and miss no opportunity to admonish or punish them without listening to or even hearing out their side. And all this in the name of discipline. Almost all adults in the film spoke in a dull, airy tone throughout, as if the sap had been leached out of their lives. Till the end of the film, we do not get to know where Muhammad Raza Nemadzadeh's house was, and if he did have a family and a home of his own. This disturbed a person like me. While watching the film, I recalled a behavioral psychologist's statement that howsoever you must have decided in your childhood that you will not do such and such thing with your child when you grow up to have one, decades later, to your utmost horror, you find yourself repeating the same words that your parents said to you in the same tone and doing the same. But I think this is where love, understanding, and wisdom have to play a role, which was almost missing in the guardians and adults in the film. All the actors in the film were non-professionals, yet most of them did a good job. The children were excellent. The camera work was brilliant, and so were the color palettes used throughout the film. There were predominantly different tones of blue, grey, and brown to give us the exact feel of the atmosphere. The claustrophobic classroom, the open courtyard with the limited freedom therein, under strict adult vigilance, the vast outskirts where the running boy seems like a little dot and the narrow, difficult and steep alleys at the poste that the boy has to navigate added to the story in a big way. However, the film doesn't end in pessimism. Through Ahmed's sincerity, loyalty and empathy towards his friend, and despite all the odds, how he finally finds a solution to save Raza from a dire consequence for no fault of his makes us heave a sigh of relief. Yet, it leaves us with a question that is a fair behavioral code only to be observed by those who are sensitive, sincere, or vulnerable, dependent, and the ones with an innate sense of responsibility and understanding. Thank you. For the youngsters here who are not members of Cine Montage, I wish to say this film is available on YouTube with English subtitles. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। हमने सुना कि जो एक आर्ट होता है स्टोरी टेलिंग का, वो आज हमने लाइव देखा कि वो जो जितने भी 1 आवर 19 मिनट्स की जो वो मूवी थी, वो मूवी इतनी देर चली नहीं, लेकिन उसका पूरा सार हमने समझ लिया जो शुरू से सुन रहे होंगे अटेंटिवली कि कैसे, यानी जो कहते हैं कि बच्चे जो रहते हैं जिन्होंने प्यार करना बच्चों से सीखा है, वो प्यार करना भूल नहीं सकते कभी, क्योंकि वह कभी ये नहीं देखते कि जो जिनसे वो कनेक्टेड है वो कौन से कास्ट के हैं, कौन से रिलीजन के हैं, किस पदवी से आते हैं, कौन से घर से आते हैं। तो जब बनने की बात आती है तो जितने बड़े हो जाए यही होता है कि बच्चा बनना है, चाहे जितनी भी उम्र हो जाए, चाहे 55 के भी क्रॉस क्यों ना हो जाए, तो 55 के नहीं, दिल बचपन का ही होना चाहिए। ये आर्ट हमने अभी लाइव देखा। Moving forward, it's a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome our next chief guest on behalf of Cine Montage Film Society. I offer my regards to Srimati Barkha Mathur ma'am for joining us. Introducing her, Srimati Barkha Mathur ma'am is an award-winning journalist from Nagpur who, in a career spanning more than 3 decades, has worked with several leading newspapers and media agencies. She has recently co-authored a book titled Bring the Change in the Footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi, published by HarperCollins India. The book is about the lives of people serving in the remotest part of India. We are grateful to her for accepting our invitation and becoming a chief guest of today's event. On that note, I would like to invite Srimati Barkha Mathur on the stage to deliver her thoughts on today's day.
Thank you. Very good evening. The moment is not lost on me. First of all, you put me on stage with Madhuri ji, who's such an accomplished actress, and she talks about cinema. We all hear her mesmerized. And secondly, the occasion is not lost on me. Thank you very much, Cine Montage, for having me here. I have, as Madhuri ji also said, we have all, evolved and given our own spin to this topic. So if it's cinema of choice for Madhuri ji, it's been feeling with films for me. As I stand to talk to you and talk about some of the films which have left a very lingering, memories in my mind and a taste in me. So, being a woman, of course, there's no guessing here that I have selected women-centric films for this talk that I'm giving here. So, I begin with Anubhav, the 1971 film by Basu Bhattacharya, and Basu Bhattacharya, I think, yeah. So 1971, and 1971 was a time when these alternative narratives were beginning to happen in Indian cinema. We were having parallel cinema, Shyam Benegal was coming up, and things were slightly changing from the melodramatic films that we were seeing for that period. Now, Anubhav was a black and white film. It had very seasoned stars like Tanuja and Sanjeev Kumar in the lead. And the film was about a couple, and as it opens with a scene of the couple, Amar and Meeta, as Tanuja and Sanjeev Kumar were referred to in the film, it was their 6th wedding anniversary. And right from the first scene, we are guessing what's happening, because we see Tanuja, who's the hostess, Meeta, she's following a small child across her house, and we're wondering what is this all about, what's going to be. And there's a lot of chatter and things like that, but Meeta picks up the child, puts her to sleep, and the film ends. Now, actually, the film is about the the indifference in a marriage, between a couple, a workaholic husband and a wife who's clueless about what her role is in his life. So there is there are a number of servants over there who take care of the sahab of the house, as he gets up in the morning, and the routine is showed, through these imagery that he's getting up, the servant is getting tea for him, then there are two others who are coming, helping him dress up, etc. And Meeta watches from sidelines. She doesn't know what her role is over here. She's dejected, she's clueless, until she decides that she has to take charge of her life. And she begins by sacking the servants. Except for aging one, Hari, who tells her that I'm not going anywhere because I've been with the Sahab since the time he was a child. So he stays back. But she throws away all the rest of them and she takes charge. And we still don't know what's the motive. But she begins to cook, she entertains, and her chatter fills up the house. And the husband is watching very, in a bemused way, if we may say so. But then what happens, even as she's working on her marriage, her view revisits her life, Coincidentally, he starts working with the husband. She's alarmed, she's rattled at his presence. But he tells her privately in a moment when they catch each other together that I'm not here to disturb anything. I'm very happy to see you happily married. She has doubts, but nevertheless she's working. Now, the couple is coming close when suddenly, this suspicion comes in. And that is where the movie, climaxes, the crux of what the message is comes to us. Now, see, 1971 was an era when women were still discovering their space in the society and in the households. They were daughters, they were daughter-in-laws, they were mothers and wife, and absolutely in that order. They didn't have any role defined for themselves. So Sanjeev Kumar or Amar overhears a conversation between the view, Shashi, who has been visiting the house because Amar is not keeping well. So, and this suspicion, this doubt gets into him. Now he doesn't know how to take it up with the wife. So there are outbursts, misplaced angers, irritation, till Meeta decides that she has to address this issue. She takes it. And then, it's such a beautiful portrayal as a woman. Every woman in the audience must have, in those days also, identified with it, and she tells him that when she was 12, her mother passed away. And she tried to fill that void in her father's life by trying to do everything the way the mother would do. And the father would always tell her that, no, you're not as good as your mother. And it would deject her. And she gets desperate when she tells him that I am trying to, I had no role in my father's life, in my life before I got married to you. So I'm trying to get hold of this marriage. I'm trying to make some meaning out of it. I'm trying to find a place in this marriage. And that's what I'm doing, But she really is at her scathing best when she tells him that you are doubting me about this man. If you count the hours, maybe I have just spent 6 hours with him. But those 6 hours have left such a thirst in me that I wanted it to go on. And I have never felt that in my 6 years of marriage. So it was a very, very bold kind of situation to have put a heroine in those days, And the way she delivers it, the way she says it, the man is, totally flabbergasted. And he is, the beauty of the film was that Amar is, he's ashamed of what he has done. So that was the kind of a thing, that cinema gave every woman, It left a message, that you have to get up and take charge of your life, which was very, very difficult for women to be doing in those days. So this is the film which has lingered. It is known more for its music, but the manner in which it played out was something which I think every woman could connect with in some way or the other, as we lead our lives and it was definitely not about women empowerment in 1971. The second film I want to talk about is a Hollywood film, The Bridges of Madison County. Now, it was a novel written by Robert James Wowell, and at that time also it was described as an old-fashioned love story. And it's a story of this Italian woman, Francesca, who suddenly, is swept off her feet by a stranger, Robert Kincaid, who's a National Geographic photographer, and he's coming to that county to cover the covered bridges of medicine. Now, he visits her county at a time when Francesca's husband and 2 children have gone to the village fair with their, their group cattle or that kind of thing. So, she's just asking for direction. She tells him, and then I don't know what happens to her. Nobody knows what happens, but she just invites him for dinner. And he comes to her place and they get chatting. And every minute, this was Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood, it doesn't get better than that. And every minute, Francesca is discovering herself as she's having this conversation with Robert Kincaid. And he's also very, he just tells her, she's very amused with the kind of life he leads, moving from one place to another. And she's here, moved to the land, to the house, to the family, to the kids, And so he just tells her that, why don't you come along with me? Not realizing how tied to the land she is. And she tells him, yeah, I never wanted to live on a farm when I was a girl. So he said, maybe your husband can take you on a safari. And she doesn't even know how to react. So he tells her that, how's your husband? What kind of a man is he? And she struggles for words. And she says, he's clean, he's honest, he's a very good father. So these are the words, that come across. And the Johnson family, Francesca Johnson's family, is that kind of a very, staid, laid-back, quiet family. With Francesca, there are no conversations around the dining table, And with this guy, Robert, she's just talking and talking so much. They're smoking together. It's a 4-day affair that she's having with this guy. And the way it has been put in the film, it's like erotism encased in pure, it's pure, basically, And there's nothing, as you watch it, you don't get into the vulgarity of that situation, but you are just looking and watching Francesca and the way she's coping with this new things, excitement that is coming to her life. And then they discover that they are a perfect fit for each other. And the story yo-yos, the audience is also thinking, will she, won't she? Because this subject is always there. Okay, let us alone. We are the perfect fit for each other. Let us go. And then, they're sitting, they're smoking. The entire time that they are together, there is a certain poignancy about it, Because they understand that they are so good with each other. They are so good for each other. But it is one love that will have to be forgone, It has to be deferred for a lifetime. Because she tells him that my children will not be able to, stand the talk that will generate. And then my husband is a good man. I can't do it. And then there is this, there is a process, which is a very wrenching process of decision making. The husband returns, and he says that I'm waiting for you in the town. If you change your mind, you can always come. And she goes to the town with her husband, and she sees Robert Kincaid standing, it's raining, and she's holding the car door, and he's willing her to open the door and just walk out. And she's just holding, and she doesn't know what to do. And then suddenly she leaves the handle of the door, The husband asks, what happened? She said, nothing happened, let's go. And she goes, So that was 1995 when the film was released. And it was still the time, when women had to make these sacrifices. This excitement, this little bit of romance aside, were things they could only imagine, they would not do it. And till date, we see as women, even men too, I will say, these sacrifices are required, if you want to build a life together, if you have children, if you have family, you have certain obligations towards the society where we live in. But it was a very, very beautifully told stories, which I think every woman somewhere identifies with, not for the romance of it or getting into an affair, but solely because of the sacrifices that are required of you, a certain kind of behavior that is required of you. My third film that I'm going to talk about is Queen, as our young host here today has mentioned it. It's a cult, iconic film released in 2014 by Vikas Balan. Kangana Ranaut was the queen or Rani in the film, you know. The film broke so many stereotypes. It was set in a small town, in a middle-class family, like Rani's father is a halwai, you know. It doesn't get more middle class than that, you know. and it's a marriage that didn't happen. But the girl says that I go on a solo honeymoon, you know. And it was one idea which every woman sitting in that theatre rejoiced about, you know. And what was even more appealing was the middle-class parents, the grandmother, they all approve of it. Ke haan, jao honeymoon ke. When she wants to go to Paris. So it's basically a story of a girl meets a girl. And this journey that she takes from, you know, from Amsterdam to Paris is about self-discovery. She goes, she discovers herself, she's meeting new people, and she's constantly, I mean, she's in a pub, she's dancing with gay abundance, she's crying her heart out to a friend she has just acquired over there. You know, coming from a small town and doing all this was really, I mean, it's path-breaking. If you see, even in 2014, it was path. And the kind of support she's got from her parents and grandmother also. And then, you know, there is this moment in the film where the fiancé comes back again and wants to be back in her life. And she very deliciously savors that moment before turning him down. She says, no, I don't want you back in my life. And Queen was a film, you know, which gives you that exhilarated moment, you know, of true independence, true empowerment, you know, if only this could happen in a society. And I'm very happy, you know, that it is happening. The girls today do take, I'm not saying they take a cue from there, but they are getting these kind of support now, you know, when they have to make choices. So these three films, as I have seen them and as I have viewed them, they've all left a very, very lingering feeling. When I was told that I am supposed to do this, these were the three films which came instantly to my mind, you know, because they have stayed with me, and I can just watch them in snatches or whatever. And what appeals to me is the treatment of the film. There's no melodrama here. They are not very in-the-face empowerment kind of films. They don't seek to give you any message. They just tell you, okay, this is the scenario, and this is the behavior that emerges from it. They're very low keys, very, very understated, but they manage to convey what they're trying to convey. And what they are conveying is absolute, you know, the truth. It sets the trail, and in the case of Queen, it's path-breaking also. So these films with feelings have been continued, and they go across the eras, you know. It's not that, okay, Anubhav is confined to that 71 thing, you know. We can still see these traces where women are struggling to define their role in their own households. They may be getting the perks of marriage, but they may not be getting a position out of it. Madison County, we have seen, there are so many women, you know, who still sacrifice for the sake of their careers, their lives, their interests, everything, you know, just because they don't want to disturb the proverbial apple cart, as they say. And Queen, of course, she went out, she was a 2014 girl, so she went out, she did everything that she wanted to give, and mercifully the parents were supporting it. So feelings, you know, are such things that they flow from heart and soul, so they don't belong to any era. They cannot be confined to any particular time. They are eternal, perennial, they keep changing the ways of the way they are expressed, and they continue to appeal to us. So I think this is what I would like to talk about today. I don't know if my 15 minutes are over or not. So thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. हमने सुना कि कैसे वो बता रहे थे कि जो ओवर द इयर्स हम लोग मूवीज देखते आ रहे हैं, ये आज की बात नहीं है कि हम क्वीन का एग्जांपल देखते हैं. उन्होंने बताया कि 1970s में भी ऐसी फिल्म थी जो एम्पावरमेंट के प्रति भले ही उतना फोकस ना कर, लेकिन जो एक लाइफ लिविंग, लाइफ लर्निंग के जो लेसन्स देते हैं, जो एक सिनेरियो सामने रखते हैं, कैसे उस सिनेरियो से हम बाहर निकलते हैं, उन चीजों की बातें सिखाते हैं. तो एज एक्सप्लेन अर्लियर, जैसे मैं मेंशन भी कर रही थी कि सिने मोंटाज ऐसे मूवीज को नर्चर करता है जो कि हमको रियलिटी से कहीं बाहर नहीं भगाता, उल्टा रियलिटी के सामने लाता है. वो ये चीज हमसे एक्सपेक्ट करता है कि हम वो चीज देखें, समझें एंड एक अच्छा डिसीजन ले उस चीज के आगे. थैंक यू सो मच मैम कि आपने इतनी मूवीज हमसे साझा की कि हमने रिलेट कर पाए कि भले बाकी के पहले के दो नहीं देखे होंगे, लेकिन थर्ड वाली देख के तो समझ ही गए होंगे कि सामने की क्या स्टोरी टेलिंग रही होगी बाकी के दो मूवीज की. So here we are at the end of our program Cinema of My Choice कि फिर खो न जाए हम कहीं दुनिया की भीड़ में, फिर खो न जाए हम कहीं दुनिया की भीड़ में, मिलता है पास आने की मोहलत शायद कभी कभी. With this, I will now call upon Mr. Tapas Shah sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. So finally, we have come to the end of today's program, choice of my film, and I, on behalf of Cine Montage and Film Fraternity, take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks to our distinguished guest, Barka Mathur and Srimati Madhavi Bedekar. The team Cine Montage is indeed grateful to Ms. Barka Mathur, an eminent journalist by profession, to accept our invitation and sharing her intimate feelings about the film she has described. The films she has talked about, many of us might have seen it, but the understanding given by her, it is a deep insight about the films. So we are really enriched by her thoughts, the way she expressed the inner meaning and feelings about the film. So we look forward to hear from her in our future program also. Thank you very much. And our sincere thanks to Ms. Madhavi Bedekar. She is a Mrs. Madhavi Bedekar, and she is a avid film lover and has been associated with Cine Montage since its beginning. And the way she has expressed her own feelings about the film she has described, it is really a deep insight into the film. And of course, I have personally missed that film show, but the way she presented it, it has almost enlivened the actual situation of the film. So we today got not only a film review, but also a good orator with us. It is my personal experience. And a lot of thanks to Mrs. Madhavi Bedekar, and we definitely look forward to hear from her in future more. Friends, as you know, in today's era, survival of any organization depends purely on financial capability of the organization. And you all know how Cine Montage functions. For last more than a decade, since we have restarted this regular film screening in this hall, it has been possible only because of active support by Bengali Education Society and with all its resources at our disposal. If Bengali Education Society would not have been there, probably we would not have made our journey so smooth. In fact, it was practically not possible. So on behalf of Cine Montage and our entire group, I express my sincere thanks to Bengali Education Society and its management. And finally, this is the August gathering of today's evening, and we expected some better response, but somehow it did not materialize. But the way people have arrived here and attended this program, defying the allurement of entertainment and media show in the evening, I am really thankful to this audience. even they are limited in number, they have definitely respect for the Cine Montage activities and film society movement. That is why they have arrived here. And as long as this your support will stay with us, I am sure we will be able to carry out our activities in the days to come. Thank you all. Good night. On behalf of Cine Montage, I offer a small memento to Ritika. Thank you.
Shankar Vaju.
And delivering a good presentation. Thank you.
किसी को भी कोई थॉट शेयर करने हो उनकी फिल्म के बारे में, ऐसी कोई फिल्म जो उनकी लाइफ में बहुत मतलब इम्पैक्ट डाली हो, या ऐसी कोई फिल्म जो आपकी भी सवाल कर सकते हैं। बिल्कुल हाँ, आप ऐसा कोई जो डाउट वगैरह हो या कुछ क्लियर करना हो, कुछ फिल्म के बारे में पूछना हो, कुछ रिलेटेड हो, या आपको ऐसी लास्ट कोई जो मूवी देखी हो जो चल रही हो, ये सब सुन के दिमाग में, आप बिल्कुल आ सकते हैं, अपने थॉट शेयर कर सकते हैं अभी अपने साथ।
ये 10-15 मिनट्स का सेशन है, आप कुछ के भी बारे में बता सकते हैं।
Yes, sir.
Regarding the movie that she talked about something which occurs in Middle East, right? Middle East.
Iran.
Yes, sir. Middle East.
Where is my friend?
The discipline is tremendous over there. I'll tell you about my experience of one of my friends who is a maths teacher. She was teaching earlier in a Middle East, exactly I don't know which country, I forget. And she would also go and give tuition in somebody's home also. And she would realize that the father would be very strict with the children. Sit properly, sit upright, don't do this, don't do that and all that. So, I mean, it was okay, this is the way children are brought up. Then she decided to shift to Australia. And she joined a school there. She went to the first day she goes there. She finds nobody is paying any attention. Then she sees that somebody is blowing up a bubble gum, somebody is kissing, somebody is talking. They are doing everything except listening to what she's doing. So it's not all parents are doing the bullying. Obviously, if they had been bullied in Australia also, they would not have been the same behavior. So it depends on the place and of course time also.
And how they were brought up when they were children. The adults now.
Yes, of course it matters. About this lady, she's an Indian. In general. Yeah, of course.
Anyone else who wants to share their thoughts on any movie or want to share any experience regarding the recent cinema which they had watched? Anyone? Or any questions from the audience?
Would like to share this.
Yes.
While listening to Madhaviji, though I have not seen the film, this image becomes very clear with me. Kiarostami, we know under what regime he has been making the films in Iran. So, is it possible to ignore the political influence, though we know the strict regime will not allow him to say something explicitly, but is there any subtle message in the film? While listening to her narration, I got few clues. I just want to share with Madhuriji. The parents with adults and their command with the child, I think it is representing the strict regime under which Iran was operating, and child was representing the freedom-seeking common people. Child want to live in a free society, free thinking, which is restricted by the adults, which are governed by certain fixed ideas, which is very similar to the political dispensation of this era. It is my personal view. Would Madhuriji agree with this point.
That is why I made a mention of the rule in those from Shah to Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was a
it is-
very tyrant and
I think that passage is
That
very
kind
subtly
of
present in this film.
in fact in all most of the Iranian films like Turtles Can Fly or at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. These are few names I can remember now. People are helpless, irrespective of their age. The rules are so tyrant and so dominating, it percolates, and children are absolutely dependent and vulnerable. So, both things happen. I mean, we have seen films from out of Iran also, where children are highly dominated by parents and the kind of difficulties they face in their lives. But this point is true, and that is why I have made a passing mention.
Yeah, but I think that because Middle East has been such a strong area for so many decades now, that films have become a medium of expression, what are the political system, the social system, the kind of stress that regimes bring upon the people. And it all reflects, and cinema, in fact, such good cinema is coming from there,
Farhadi is completely banned. We have very good cinema from Iran.
And that is the reason, because when you are so suppressed, you express better, that it's true life. Best of poetry is revolutionary, that is why.
Thank you so much, everyone. Here we are at the end of our session. High tea and snacks have been arranged for everyone outside here. You can enjoy them. Signing off with good remarks. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
आ गया है? हाँ।